Giovanni Tjin hier met Mark Muñoz voorafgaande zijn gevecht tegen Gegard Mousasi op 31 mei in Berlijn en in de O2 World Arena. Hi Mark.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for taking time and talking to me. And,
no problem. My pleasure.
Okay, thanks. So let's jump right into it. MMA, mixed martial arts, isn't really that big in Holland yet. It's still considered as human cockfighting, and people that not really familiar with the sport seem to not look past the blood and the violence. What can you say, or what do you say to people that are not really aware of what MMA is?
Yeah. So what mixed martial arts is it's a combination of a lot of martial arts together, and it's not as brutal and barbaric as people think, because there's rules and regulations to the sport, and there's a lot of other sports that are as dangerous or more dangerous than mixed martial arts. I mean, if you look at American football, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, guys are padded up, but they're just blasting each other full speed, hard. There's rugby. Rugby around the world. It's a very worldwide, global sport. They don't have pads or anything, and they're going at each other very hard as well. Boxing, same thing. It's the guys get knocked down. They get back up, and you have a standing 8 count, and then you go back and you get your head knocked off again, So in mixed martial arts, if you can tap at any time, the referee's there for your protection, and when you get dazed or even hit real hard, the referee calls it right away, and then we have health. We have medical scans and examinations based upon our brain activity and all that, and if we have
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Do you have this like before every fight? The scans?
Yes, we have to make sure our brain is firing right with neurological exams, and we have to get MRIs and MRAs on our head and on our brain, brain scans and all of that stuff, just because of concussions and the possible concussions per fight. So we have rules and regulations that we have to go by, and that's just how it is, and they're there to protect us, and we have medical commission that are there to check us before every fight, check us after our fight. We have checkups even before we report to a fight. So I mean, it's quite professional, and it's a lot safer than what a lot of other people think.
Yeah. Okay. Because the Dutch are very, now I don't know if it's popular or there's a Dutch style of kickboxing, and
Yep.
that's something that Dutch people like, and we are very good at judo. We have, in the past, we had like several medals, so we do like elements of MMA, but for some reason when you blend it all together, then they don't like it. I think personally, I think it's the ground and pound that looks the most brutal. It's the thing that I had to get used to the first time I watched MMA, but after I learned and the techniques and I see what people were doing, then you can really appreciate it as a sport. How do you think about that?
Yeah, it's funny because ground and pound is actually my expertise.
I know.
It's my specialty, and for me, I engage in the sport based upon the rules. I'm not a guy that does illegal stuff. I'm not that type of guy. I go in there and I fight, but I fight based upon the rules. So when I ground and pound, it is how it is. That's what I do. But at the same time, there's techniques where you can defend against it, and they have to know those things. If they don't know them, they're at a disadvantage. So,
Yeah.
so you know, for me, it's you know, when you look at ground and pound, it's actually an art. You know, you got to be able to free your hands and keep the guy down while you're able to punch him. You know, since we're all professionals in the sport, you know, to be able to do jiu-jitsu, you have to move a guy, you know, and if you don't hold them with your hands, with your arms, you won't be able to punch. But if you're able to use your hips, it frees your arms and hold them down at the same time. There's a lot going on there, you know. So you know, just to be able to hold somebody down and wrap them, it's easy, but you're not doing any damage. You're just holding them down, you know. But if you're free to punch while you're holding somebody down, that takes a lot of skill.
Sure.
So, okay. Yeah. Now I'm not advising for people to do that at home. I'm not trying to do that, you know. No, but you know, it's the sport of mixed martial arts, and you know, there's ground fighting as well, and that's what I do. That's what I do best.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks. Let's see. Well, as I said before, the UFC is not broadcasted on Dutch television, and we are aware that some of those broadcasters, if you might call them that way, are a little bit worried about how to market mixed martial arts in the UFC, because they're quite worried that, well, they're worried about the reaction they receive from the general public. How would you suggest they start? With The Ultimate Fighter, or just go straight at it and do a full UFC event? How would you suggest they start with MMA?
You know, first I would have them educate themselves on kind of the evolution of mixed martial arts, because at first it was pretty barbaric. I mean, there was, you know, no holds barred type thing. There was no time limit. You could, you know, eye gouge. You could, you know, fish hook. You know, all that stuff. I mean, you can kick in the groin. I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. But now that there's rules, I mean, it's a very it's a professional sport. You know, and I myself never thought I'd be punching and kicking people in the face for a living. I never thought I'd be doing that. But this is a way for me to be able to pour into other people, invest into them, and just be able to be a mentor for them. You know, for me, I'm about leaving a lasting impact on people's lives, and you know, I'm using my talents, gifts, and abilities to be able to do that. And you know, through mixed martial arts, I was able to save people's lives, literally save their lives, because you know, I have guys that are in here that used to be on the streets and you know, sell drugs and gangbang and all of that stuff. You know, being gangs and violence and sex and all that stuff. Like, you know, it's just not a place to be. But when they found this gym, when they found a place to just strive for a goal and do something with their lives, then they were able to see something more positive in their lives, and now they're actually doing well for themselves. So I'm just using that as an outlet for people that have a similar interest that I do. That love fighting and love the art, and you know, and do it just in the cage, nowhere else. You know, and you know, when I hear of anybody like at a club or anything, and I said, hey, just know who you represent, know where you come from. You know, don't get into anything that you don't want to get into. So I make sure they're men and women of character and integrity, and that this is a sport that is going to stick around. It's a global sport. I mean, it's reaching a lot of countries, and it's huge in the United States and Brazil now, and Japan, and you know, a lot of Asian countries now. I know that. So yeah, it's grown in popularity, but I think first people need to understand the rules and the regulations, and you know, the the professional organizations that are involved with it, such as the medical part and making sure all the guys are tested and their blood is clean and all of that stuff. It's not a barbaric chicken. I mean, it's not a, like a. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's not,
like a human cockfight or something like that.
cockfight. It's not a human cockfight. It's not that. So, um, so that's where I'm coming from, because for me, I have my education. I have my bachelor's degree. I have, I was getting my master's. I still have to do my thesis, and I'm highly educated. And I have my own business. I have a wife and 4 kids, so I want to be alive after fights. Trust me.
But that's some good information. That's some good information, because not everybody knows that there are a lot of smart, educated guys. Not only fighting in the UFC, but it's not a back alley sport. It's like a real regulated, very highly. You really have to have a lot of discipline to do, because how much do you train? Like,
I train 5-6 hours a day.
Every day, 7 days a week.
I wouldn't say 7 days, because your body needs to recover.
Sure.
So 5 days a week. It's just like a full-time job, if not more, because even if you're not training physically, you're still recovering from what you've done. And then you need to go back. Because your rest time is your recovery time, and you can't joke around with that, because your body needs to recover. Because I do, between my MMA training, putting everything together, to my Muay Thai, to my boxing, to my Jiu-Jitsu, which is the ground submission hold type of martial art, and then there's wrestling. All of that together, along with your cardio, along with your diet, along with everything else, there's a lot of discipline, like you said, and you got to have the desire to be successful. You got to have direction, which is your goals. You got to have diligence to work hard. You got to have the discipline to be able to maintain a schedule like that. And you got to be dedicated, because the times where you don't want to train, you got to be dedicated. You got to devote yourself to training. So it's a very tough sport. Not a lot of people do it, because if it were easy, a lot of people would be doing it.
Yeah, okay. Cool. About your last fight with Machida, a lot of fighters or MMA athletes I speak to, they say that they learn more from their losses than from their wins. I thought I heard you say the same in some other interviews. What is actually the thing that you really took from that fight to Machida?
I definitely learned a lot. I've trained with Machida. I'm actually really good friends with him. We have a lot of similar friends too, and we hang out. It was a difficult thing to actually be able to fight a friend. But I've done it before, and it's hard. But we're professionals, and that's what we have to do. I pretty much fought his fight. I had 2 weeks to prepare for a guy like Lyoto. His distance is very different, and his timing is very different than everybody else in the division. And I had 2 weeks to prepare for him. That's crazy. Not a lot of time. So although we did train together, our training was mainly grappling based. Which he was learning more from me than I was from him. So we didn't do any striking, which it starts on the feet. So I learned a lot. I learned that I can't fight anybody's fight; that I have to fight my fight. And it's about perspective and being not only physically prepared, but you got to be mentally prepared as well. That's one thing that a lot of fighters tend to neglect, because you go out there and you train your physical body to be right, but if you're not there mentally, you're not going to win the fight. You got to have mental fortitude inside the cage. You got to have, you got to get pushed inside the gym, not only physically but also mentally. You got to have guys trying to break you inside the gym, not only jiu-jitsu, wrestling, But Muay Thai, kickboxing, and boxing, you got to do it. You have to, because if you don't get tested inside the gym, you're not going to be prepared when you get out there. So I mean, it's very important.
Yeah. Okay. About the training partners, because as you said, you've trained with Lyoto Machida, and I've also heard that you've it's the lights going off.
Yeah.
I also heard you well, because you were scheduled to fight Chael Sonnen and you were scheduled to fight Michael Bisping, and now you're training with them. So how's that like training with guys that you eventually or probably will fight, and and how's it like, and how do you like prevent them from seeing some weaknesses, because they're like sparring partners and competitors at the same time? How do you combine that mentally?
I have a different perspective about that. People say keep your friends close, but keep your enemies closer.
Sounds too
right?
Out of war. Yeah.
But at the same time, for me, like I'm it takes years for somebody to learn what I have, and that's I can teach them a lot, but at the same time they have to stop it, and it takes years just to learn the balance, just to learn the technique, to learn the awareness of it, the setups for it. So there's a lot of things that happen. I am training with Michael Bisping, I am training with Chael Sonnen, training with Lyoto Machida.
They're in your division.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
Yeah, I know, and see, that's the thing. People think we want to kill each other, we want to knock each other's brains out. No, it's not that. It's a professional sport, and these guys are seeking a better environment for themselves. And I'm a welcoming guy. I said, yeah, come on in. I'll teach you everything I know, and should we fight each other, then we'll cross that road when it comes. But right now, hey, we're gonna give to each other.
Cool.
So yeah. So I mean, that's how it is, and that's the reality of it. I mean, Bisping moved here 3 years ago, and now he's just training with us now. It's just it's crazy. But with Chael, I was supposed to fight Chael, but we were managed by the same manager, and he's a good friend of mine. So that's something that I'm that type of guy. I don't say, hey, I'm supposed to fight you. No, I'm not going to train with you. I'm not that type of guy.
That's
I'm the type of guy that
professional attitude.
Yeah, I'm personable. I'm nice. I'm willing to give back. Like I said, I want to use mixed martial arts to be able to invest in their lives. Not just my own life, but to be able to invest my wisdom, my knowledge, and all that stuff to people that need it.
Cool. Cool. Let's see. For yeah, can I continue? Or are you?
It's my friend right here.
So friends.
This friend right here, son. 31st.
All the way from Holland, man. All the way from Holland.
From Holland. He's from Holland?
Yeah. Yep.
Holland, like a kickboxer.
Yeah.
Oh, Holland,
Hey, he's a kickboxer.
Really?
Is he trainer?
He doesn't train. He started a website. And we're doing an interview. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Good luck with that.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I'm not even gonna edit that out. That was cool. Let's see. About the fight with Musashi, and what part of training did you focus on the most?
I do a lot of everything actually. So with the kickboxing, I do that twice a week. MMA I do every day. Jiu-jitsu I do twice a week. Wrestling I do pretty much 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So it's just you got to train everything. You have to,
Sure.
and you know, with our schedule here at Rain, at Rain Training Center, we basically break it down. On Mondays, it's MMA, wrestling. So you got to deal with, you know, the strikes coming at you and wrestling at the same time. That includes fall. That includes, you know, the ground, all that stuff. Tuesday is actually sparring, so we do everything that we learn on Monday. We apply to Tuesday. Wednesday, it's a lot of cage work and ground and pound and all of that. On Wednesday, Thursday, stand-up partner drills. And then we mix in takedowns along with that. And then Fridays is MMA sparring, which is everything. We have our small gloves on, headgear, shin guards, all the protective gear that we need. And we basically go at it. But we don't seek to knock anybody out or choke anybody out or do any of that. We're more doing like technical striking. You know, some guys might increase the intensity, but we're not trying to knock each other out and not trying to hurt each other in any way. So that's our whole schedule, and it's a pretty steep schedule, along with your strength conditioning, along with your pad work, along with your you know, your jiu-jitsu training. So I mean that's a lot in 1 week, and for a training camp that. It's quite a bit of work to be able to do all of those things.
So nothing specific, just your all-around MMA workouts. Nothing that, like, let's say you fight Damian Maia, then you know you have to work on your jiu-jitsu, but
You have to.
but probably because of Musashi, he's an all-around fighter, and you really have to train all around. I think that's the reason
Have
why.
to. I mean, although his striking is where he comes from, you know, I mean, you know, from the Netherlands, you know, he's that Dutch kickboxing man. He's very good at striking. So, you know, I do have a lot of kickboxers here that are emulating him, and you know, I'm doing, you know, I feel I'm progressing quite well with that, you know. You know, and I just have to fight my fight. You know, I have to basically, you know, get my hands on them.
Yeah, cool. So how do you see it go? If you can give me a prediction.
Yeah, you know, he's gonna want to keep the distance. I'm gonna want to close the distance, and you know, I think this fight's gonna be everywhere. You know, I think it's gonna be, you know, on the cage, you know, on our feet, on the canvas. It's going to be everywhere. So I'm looking to, you know, if not finish him, but win by unanimous decision.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So those are my questions. I do not know how much time we have left. Maybe I can throw in some fan questions. And I don't know, how much do we have?
We have about 4 more minutes.
Wow. Okay, so I'm gonna skip the fan question. No. I'm gonna ask you 3 fan questions. First one, it's by Keenan. I think it's Juk, his last name, I'm not sure. Are you considered a big star in the Philippines?
Oh, yeah.
Are you recognized like a big star in the Philippines?
Yeah, I went there. I went there 3 times this past year, and every time I was there, I needed security. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. I got on all the big shows out there, and got interviewed by by a lot of the big interview shows there, and yeah, it's growing in the Philippines, and I definitely want to be the pioneer and the one that leads the way for Philippine mixed martial arts.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just going to check. Got another cool fight. What's your diet like?
So I'm actually wearing my diet. So it says fueled by Sunfair, which is high powered nutrition. So if you want to check it out, it's sunfair.com. But yeah, my food is very important. I'm on a modified paleo diet. They bring my food every day to me fresh at my door. all I gotta do is just open it up, heat it up, and eat it.
Nice.
So it's
that's quality
I
service.
have a lot. Yeah, I have a lot of fresh fruit and vegetables, lean meats, nuts. When I talk about meats, it's mainly chicken and fish. I have red meat every once in a while, but it's if it's red meat, it's hormone-free, grass-fed beef. The chickens are free-range chickens. So it's a high-powered, highly nutritious diet.
Cool. Last thing, a pop question. We spoke about this before. So I have a picture, 4 people. These 4 are Dutch people. I can do it like this. So
Okay.
one of these, I don't know if you can see it well. One of these is our king. Another
Okay.
one is a TV host, and yet another one is a singer, and another one, and the last one, that's the trainer of our national football team.
Okay.
Okay, so let's start with the king. What do you think is the king?
The king would be D.
D. Okay, I'm gonna tell you in a bit. And
Okay.
the Dutch football coach.
A.
Hey, okay. The singer.
C.
See, and so B is the TV host, right?
Yeah.
So this is the TV. It's like you did your homework. You have everything right, man. This is actually, boy. I'm gonna give you a high five. True. So this actually, so this is a TV host. It's called Umberto Tan. This is our king, Willem Alexander. This is the coach of the Dutch football team, and this is one of our singers in our country. And by the way, this is Louis van Gaal, it's called. So, Mark, I'd like to thank you very much for this interview. Everybody, please check out UFC in Berlin, May 31st, and go get that fight pass. Mark, thank you very much, and I hope to speak to you sometime soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
D-based, dream catcher, heed that, seed snatcher, detach, scheme hatcher, cheap plans that I leave fractured, digitize, evolution, reprogram the retribution, celebrating my institution, I'm interested in your dissolution, my wisdom is on your disillusion, no mysticism, this shit is proven, so intricate, I infiltrate to dissipate through this intrusion, this the moment I bring the truth in, my improvement is your conclusion, every moment these lips are moving, I'm
choosing for you.